email. I'm waiting for the thing. I'm like, wait a second. I'm on the wrong email.
All right. Hello. Welcome. We should be live. Let us know in the comments. Can you hear me? George, are you there?
I am here, Tom.
George is here. You should
I'm
be able to.
stuck in a submarine.
You're so. Oh, that's.
Oh,
That's not trending
too
well.
soon? Is that too soon?
Too soon.
Did you hear that story? Is awful, by the way.
I did hear details of that, and it is one of the most horrendous things I've ever heard.
Well, they were saying that the kid didn't want to go. The billionaire's son, he didn't want to go, and he only went to make his dad happy.
Well,
so that's like really sad. You know what I mean?
The whole thing is a tragedy, and that is no way to go. You know, a lot of people are like, well, you know, at least it's instantaneous. But for those of you who don't know, I don't even want to get into it. But
yeah, I'm sorry.
People went into a submarine that did not end well, so may they rest in peace. It was awful.
This is why I don't go in submarines, just so everybody knows.
I agreed. First, I want to start right out by saying thank you to Corey Marshall for the super chat. Much appreciated. So let me just read what he's saying. Yo, I don't know why I can't join members through YouTube, but please add me. Let's see. Also, thanks for farm. You've made me over 20K just sticking it out.
Nice. That's awesome.
George, please.
I didn't want to pull a George. You guys are killing me.
That's not right.
I don't. Hey, look it. You are right now. I'm a nervous trader. I'm not gonna lie.
You've always said that the stock market was not your speed.
I'm just not good with the stock market.
However, many other areas of business.
I'm good at real estate, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, real estate's been a good friend to you.
George, you can't fit into a submarine. Thank you.
That's probably true. I hear that thing was cramped tight. So one last time, just thank you very much to Corey Marshall. I'll try to reach out, Corey. I'm not sure why you're unable to join to become a member, but we'll figure out how to get you.
I will send my, I'll put my information to add me, like, you know, on Discord. And then after you add me, Corey, then I will send you a invitation to the member-only chat. Which, Tom, that is a really good chat. I'm not going to lie.
The members-only chat's an excellent chat. There's, you know, our regular chat is free and etc. And we have some moderators, but it's hard. It's too much to keep up with. But the members are on a different level. And I think Corey's having trouble actually just joining the membership. So for those who are interested, and Corey, again, will try to get directly with you, there should be a join button on the YouTube page right next to the subscribe button. So it's $5 a month. Thank you to all the existing members. It's much appreciated. It's not much money. We try to keep the price low, but it does help us do what we do because YouTube sure isn't helping.
You know what? And I want to say you're welcome, Life. He says, we need people like George to be losers so we can be winners. And it's true. That's the name of the game.
Well, let's quantify that because I don't think it's fair to call you a loser, George. You're by all measures a winner.
I can be called a loser. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we talked about, when you weren't on, we talked about doing the deep dive video on George because people don't know what you got going on. So,
and I don't even know what I got going on. I just know I'm happy in life.
That's the most important thing. So if you're happy, smash the like button, please.
If you're sad, don't.
If you're sad, you can still smash the like button. Maybe it'll make you happy. Also, it helps the live stream. So much appreciated. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Of course, it is free. And we already talked about the membership. A lot of comments. I'm way behind on the comments already. Hello, Edmund, Pobrain, Alex, FV702, Barry. Hello, Corey, of course. And whoever else I'm missing, Life, Darren. And I'm just trying to scroll down. So hello to everybody and welcome. Everybody, welcome. Hopefully you guys had a good week. It was a pretty nice finish to a nice week if you were in the Bitcoin mining space. If you were in the market overall, if you were in the equities, it was not that good this week. And particularly, it was not good. I think this is maybe 3 days in a row that Bitcoin and the market are just going in opposite directions.
Well, that's good, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think it's the ultimate fake out.
The ultimate fake out on the market or on Bitcoin?
Bitcoin?
You think this is just because we did kind of get, let me zoom out a little. We kind of got this could potentially end up being a rejection, but I'm going to stay optimistic, but I'm going to go from George's perspective here for a minute. So we got to, back in April, on April 14th, we got up to, on this chart, it shows 31,050. I think a lot of the charts, it shows 30,860 was the high. So, it just depends which chart you're looking at. But somewhere around $31,000 we got to on April 14th. You can see we did candle wick way above that today. By the way, this yellow line that this is all sitting right at, that's a double from the lows of November. So Bitcoin is right now, as we speak, basically just a few dollars off of up 100% since November. So, from that perspective, this has all been very bullish. But we did just go through 2 months of sideways activity and downward activity. You can see we're only 1, 2, 3, 4 days into breaking out of this long line of resistance. So the question is, is this a double top and we head back down, or can we break out of this? I really think we need to close daily candles above, certainly above where this daily candle closed, but I'd like to start closing them above even where the candle wick was. Let's see some momentum. I mean, on our members only poll, we did a poll. What's next? 31,000 or 25,000. 90% of the members thought 30,000 was next. Or sorry, 31,000 was next. So we did hit that today. So, that was one of the most overwhelming results we ever had on a poll. And we got to 31, according to this chart, 31,443 today. So we clearly cleared that hurdle. Now the question is up or down? The same old question.
I will let you know I did buy Iris.
Oh, you're in Iris.
I bought it.
Nice.
Yeah, I bought it Monday. I bought it Monday. I put all my money back into the Bitcoin miners, just so you guys all know.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, then hopefully
that's probably why it went down, guys.
Hopefully this is not a fake out if you just put your money back in.
No, I just, you know me, I never have confidence. Here's why I don't have confidence. Is BlackRock. Oh, there we go. We're shadow banned.
You said it.
Sorry. When they get into the space, dude, you know what they're going to do?
Well, I'm hoping for the best, but I know that obviously they hold a lot of, I was going to say a lot of cards, but dollars. They hold a lot of dollars.
A lot of
trillions
cash.
And trillions of dollars. So let me see. I'm going to try and read some of the chat here. I'm hopelessly behind. I'm going to start from the top or the bottom. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's too confusing starting that way. I gotta start from the top. Everyone's in the middle of conversations of their own.
I know, we got like 37 going.
FE702, hello. Iris has been on a tear, but would rather have my money in CleanSpark. So, FE702,
Tom, that was a great interview. I'm sure everybody wants to thank you for that interview.
Oh,
I am going to thank you for that interview.
Well, thank you
with
very
Matt,
much, George.
It was a very good one.
And thanks, yeah, like you said, thanks to Matt who came on and Did not shy away from any questions.
I thought
So
that was really nice, that honestly, because, I mean, you asked him some tough questions. I mean, questions that people aren't going to normally ask.
I feel like I did, and we've talked about this so much, and so many of the members have really asked us, George, and especially on the members only streams, can you please ask this? And don't shy away from asking about, compensation and dilution and all that stuff. So I asked, and I thought he was very open about it, and I thought he had good answers. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Corey's interjecting. Thank you again for the super chat. Should I dump any George Love? You man, just a light.
Should I dump any George?
I don't know if I Can you explain that so that?
Yeah. Please do.
Oh, you know what? Any might be ANY, stock ticker ANY. Should I dump any?
Oh.
Should I dump
I
any?
got out.
George
I made
Love
my
you,
money
man.
on any. Yeah, I made money on any and got out, by the way.
So Corey, I'm not in any, and I looked at any and I looked at Stronghold to me, and I was gonna go in one or the I can't. Well, I shouldn't say I can't. I'm not in everything. So I've tried to make my selections, and I liked Stronghold better. That's my personal opinion. I do think any is underpriced. The one thing about any is we've seen now, I think, 3 or 4 companies do a reverse stock split. So that was a topic for a long, long time. Most of the rest of the companies are out of the wood. Any is going to have to do a reverse stock split. So no matter how undervalued they are, it seems like there's a 2 or 3 week period in there right after that there's a buying opportunity. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And I do think, in my personal opinion, not financial advice, but I think they are undervalued right now, no doubt. But are they going to go down a bunch, at some point because of that? That's been the trend. So, I don't know. Sai is saying, I got out of any today. So somebody's on the same page. Edmund said, Tom, great CleanSpark interview. Thank you, Edmund. Appreciate it. My only fear with CleanSpark is that the minor manufacturers will not deliver units on time if the next bull run kicks off early. So I think that could be a concern beyond CleanSpark, but CleanSpark's kind of first in line right here, and they've picked up a lot of other people's obligations, and a lot of these machines are paid for and on the way. Mostly what they're going to be waiting for is their sticking point is not getting the machines in-house, it's finishing their construction. So and I did talk to Matt about that, and he said he was honest about where they were at, and they certainly are targeting year end to be done with that, and that's what should happen. But with construction, what happens. He talked about how they had a lightning storm and all the electricians had to go home. So you don't. There's no factoring that in. It is what it is.
You know what is so funny? So when we used to do forecasts on cash, there was one thing that we always realized. Neither one of us, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're never going to get it right.
That's right.
You're just not. There's just, I never would have predicted COVID.
Yeah, there's just too many. There's an infinite number of variables. And in construction, now, some of what they're building is, I don't want to say simple, because that's not right. But the buildings themselves are very simple compared to what George and I are used to building. But, they're...
Yeah, they are.
Right, I mean, so hopefully once they get to that point, they should roll. But we'll see. But either way, I mean, if it's November, if it's December, if it's January, to me, I'm not going to get worried about that. If they have all their machines and they're all plugged in sometime at the end of Q4 or the beginning of Q1 next year, and they're at 16 exahash, then as far as I'm concerned, they win. Mark is saying, I agree. CleanSpark interview was great content. Thank you, Mark. And of course, thank you, Matt. So Matt's a good guy. I think, you know, people really liked Matt. I thought he presented well, and he, like I said, he was very open, and, you know, didn't no dodging of questions. You know, a lot of times you ask a question and then they answer a different question when it's a tough question. But I didn't feel like he did that. I feel like, you know, he answered the questions, so I appreciate that. I think based on the feedback on the comments, you guys appreciated that from Matt as well. Steve Eckford saying, I sold my Wolf and bought Iris. So I am more comfortable with Iris than I am with Wolf. But they're all different. So the pros and cons from my perspective, Wolf's cost per coin is probably going to end up being the lowest in the industry. Cypher is right there with them. Those two just spend a lot less per coin. Cypher's already had financial statements that show that. So Wolf is representing that in their monthly operational updates. We'll see if their financials corroborate that, but it's too soon. We haven't gotten a chance yet. But so that's a big deal. You know, those two have very low cost per coin. But TeraWolf has a bunch of debt. They have significant debt. Now, they restructured all their debt, so their debt isn't going to run them over, but is it going to hinder them from growing the way some of the other companies might be able to grow going forward because they don't have that debt? That would be my question.
I'm looking up my... Oh, that's cool. Copying my username, and I'm pasting it here. Let's see if it works. Did I lose you?
Nope.
Oh, good. That's my username in Discord now, by the way.
All right, I got a new poll.
I don't know what that is.
Was this your best week this year in the market? Because this was a very good week for Bitcoin. It was a good week for the Bitcoin miners. And I know, you know, we don't all have all of our money in there. And it was not a very good week for a lot of other things. So, I'd be interested to see. So we'll just do that quick poll and see what people's thoughts are. Some of my other big positions went a little bit sideways on some of these down days too, so that was kind of lucky. I want to go through some companies that had a very bad day, some industries that I think are having a very bad day that might be facing existential threats, as everybody loves to say about everything now.
What are you talking about?
Specifically, I'm talking about the charging stations. So I'll look at those in a few minutes. We'll get to those. I think they all might go out of business, and I'll explain why later. And I'm not the only one who thinks that, because their stocks seem to be indicating that.
Thanks, Matthew, for joining.
Oh, Matthew.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm slow. I didn't think that, because I don't have my video camera up. I don't realize I'm on stream sometimes. Oh, I'm sorry.
We can't see you.
I know, but I belched.
Oh.
And
I'm oblivious. So
yeah.
Hey, this is uncut, real time, no filter.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing.
Let me go to the 15-minute just so we get a closer look at what's going on. So yes, welcome Matthew Avery. Thank you for being the latest member of the Talking Investing Squad. Much appreciated. There's a bunch of content waiting for you if this is your first time ever being a member. So I'm also going to talk about the last two members only videos that I did, and I want to show you how they're doing, because I feel like we dodged a couple of bullets there on these last two.
I got to sneak out for a second.
All right, so let us know when you're back.
Yep. Well, now it doesn't really matter. I don't even need to tell you.
Let's see. Alex, Matt explained the C-suite comp, not what most folks say. Please stop with the FUD. So thank you, Alex, for bringing that up. And you know, that was one of the ones, you know, that's a tough question, and he went head on with it, in my opinion. And you know, hearing it straight from him, how that all works, I felt better about it. And I've been defending their compensation as it was, but I still even felt better hearing directly from him. I know a lot of people did, just based on, first of all, that's the most comments I've ever gotten on any video, and 95% were actual productive comments related to the interview. So thank you, everybody, for your support and your comments. And if you shared the video, thank you, because that video is doing very well at a time where a lot of people have seemed to lost interest in investing. So much appreciated. But there was a lot of people who specifically thanked Matt for his explanation on compensation. So if you have not seen the interview, feel free to please watch that interview. There's a lot of great info in there, and he does specifically address C-suite compensation. So let's see. Matthew saying, such a good week. I finally joined. Ah, all right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Babby Antoine, I probably mispronounced that as usual, is asking, Mara, price prediction by the Bitcoin halving, holding 200 shares at $9 cost. So FV702 is saying $75 to $100. Chris Dominator. Chris is a well-known #1 fan of Marathon. Welcome to the live stream, Chris. Chris is saying $150 in 18 months, and he's going with his 100% on that. I mean, if Marathon keeps doing what they're doing lately, and I would love to see a couple of more months in a row, and one more quarter of financial statements, because I am looking to see if they can keep bringing that cost per coin down, because they have done 4 quarters in a row. They've brought their cost per coin down in an environment where, as you guys know, the difficulty level has gone up drastically. So the fact that they're becoming more efficient and reducing their costs, and all these new machines they have are the XPs. So that's something that they have in common with CleanSpark, who's, all these new machines are XPs. I think Marathon does have a really good chance. I mean, it needs to get back to 83 just to get back to its high, from November of 2021. Now, not all the Bitcoin miners are going to get back to that high, but I do think Marathon is one of them. So, I'm somewhere in the range of where FV702 and Chris Dominator are talking about. I'm usually a little more conservative and cautious with my price targets, but to me, 75, that is totally possible in my opinion. And the big factor is going to be, where's Bitcoin at, and the predictions are all over the place. I think Bitcoin has people thoroughly confused. I think a lot of people missed this rally that we just had, basically a 20 or 25% rally in the last, week. And the Bitcoin miners did a lot more than that. So I think a lot of people did miss this run because they didn't see it coming. And now, just like George said at the top of the show, are we sure what's next, right? So a lot of people may still be afraid to get in, and maybe rightfully so. Maybe this is, the top. Sorry, I'm moving my cords around so that doesn't ruin my... All right, let's see. Edmund said, Tom, I still did not like Matt's reply and the whole compensation package. It is the biggest negative relating to CleanSpark. Once they do these packages, they tend to do them over and over. Well, I mean, Edmund, you are absolutely entitled to your... everybody can... That's the beauty of getting him on, asking the question, and he's answering the question directly, and then you guys can judge for yourself. So... I think a lot of people did feel good about that, but if you don't feel good about it, I know you've got a couple other that you're investing in that I'm pretty are very high on my high conviction list as well. So, not every miner is for every person. Corey, thank you for the super chat. Last question. What is the most undervalued now? So I have a few candidates for this, and so the first one I'll say, believe it or not, I still think Iris Energy is maybe the most undervalued. Now, I will say some of the very small ones, some of the nano cap stocks that are, under $35 million, it's possible, they'll percentage-wise, they will increase more than some of these other stocks. When you're I'll show you a for example, which is why I bought into this company. Let me, here. So here's Stronghold. I could have just as well answered Stronghold. Stronghold has a market cap of $23 million. To me, for them to 5x, they're just going to be a little over $100 million. And, they have 3 or 4 exahash of mining that they're doing. They mined, I think, 220, and that was an estimate because there was a couple days left in the month, so they didn't give us an official number, but somewhere over 200 Bitcoin last month. Their book value is substantially more than this, and their market cap's $23 million. So in that respect, maybe Stronghold's the most undervalued right now. I think Iris is still wildly undervalued, and I'll go there and take a look, because so they're at just over $250 million, so much bigger than what we just looked at, but they mined over 500 Bitcoin last month. And they're growing, and they have a lot of room to grow. So I like this company. I think there's a lot more room to the upside. They had a nice week. Today they cooled off. If you look at today's trading, they had a low of 450 and a high of 490. So they were at $4.90 today. They ended at $4.60. So to me, that they gave back, maybe people took some profits at the end of the week, that could represent, and looking after hours, and I try not to pay too much attention to after hours because it can be low volume and doesn't translate to what's ultimately going to happen the next time the market opens. But, maybe there's more buying opportunity here. I will keep buying. I just started my Iris position in 2023, but it's the one that I've bought in most heavily to. So it is one of my bigger positions now. And I wouldn't mind adding to it on a pullback if that happens. I mean, that's a very small market cap for the size of this company and the strength of what they're doing, in my opinion. I think CleanSpark is very undervalued. I think that I'm still dollar cost averaging into Bitfarms, and so I'm going to take my 30 seconds of Bitfarm time. I've been holding this stock forever. So for those of you who follow the channel and have been listening to me for a long time, I've been waiting for this move to $1.50, and today finally, 2 months later than I expected. So I thought this would happen, and then and as everybody knows, we kind of went sideways for a couple of months. I thought once they broke out of that like $1.10, I thought they'd run up to $1.50. Well, they didn't run, they crawled, but they did get there today. So $1.52. So my $1.50 calls that finished out of the money in May, my August $1.50 calls are doing very well right now. And I did not sell any of them because I don't think this is done. So we'll see. I may kick myself later, but I'm holding those. Oh, His Honor saying 99 watching and only 48 likes. Smash the like button. So I'll put my thing up. Yes, anybody, if you could please smash the like button. It helps the stream out a lot. It's much appreciated, and it's free. So the more interactions, the more likes we get, the more YouTube spreads this to other people so that they can join us in our conversation. So I appreciate it. And thanks to all of I see a lot of members in the chat right now, so I always like to take a minute out to thank all the members. You guys help keep this channel going, so it's much appreciated. Edmund saying, Tom, yep, Iris is still the most undervalued. At $253 million market cap, Iris and Wolf have the best facilities with tons of growth at their current sites. Yeah, that's the other thing. Iris has, I think, 560 megawatts left that they can continue to build on and grow. So, you know, they're nowhere near done growing. And I know also Wolf does have, I can't remember how much, but they do have access to a lot more potential power. And to me, that's what this has turned into. It's not what it was, 2 years ago, where people were paying anything to get their hands on a machine at any price and waiting any period of time and putting any deposit down that they asked. This thing has flipped totally into the reverse. Machines are now the least difficult part of the critical path of getting, up and running. Getting energy, getting good energy. I'll give you an example, and I've talked about this a few times, and this is a stock that baffles me, and they did it again this week, so I just want to show you guys what I'm talking about. Manuel said, let's go Bitfarms. Edmund said, Tom, congrats on Bitfarms. Thank you very much. Tom is saying, MIGI, M-I-G-I, Mawson is the most undervalued. Yeah, we haven't talked much about Mawson and their market cap. I'll take a little sidetrack. They're still under $50 million market cap, $41 million. So, that's another one. Some of these smaller companies do have a lot of room to the upside. If they execute and get to where they say they're going. So, that's always risk reward. Ty is saying, if the pump lasts for 2 more weeks, I feel that's the last pump of the year. So, well, we'll see. Right now, for starters, I'll take 2 weeks at a time. If the pump lasts for 2 more weeks, I'll be happy, and then we'll have to reassess from there. But that's kind of where George was going. He thinks we're having a little bit of a run right now, and it's going to end, and that's kind of it for the year. So he's away right now. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he should be back.
No, I'm back. I was listening, and I'm talking. I'm like, finally, somebody agrees with me.
Welcome back, George.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's going to get above 35,000. Let's put it that way. If there is a little bit of a pump, it's not going much higher.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it on your behalf, but that's what George was talking with me about earlier, is a pump to 35, and then that's...
I hate to disagree with you, Ty, but you're right. I should have invested 6 months ago. I was reflecting on life, guys, and I realized I'm just not a good stock trader. I'm just not. I'm not going to lie. I'm just not. Tom is. I'm not, because I don't have the confidence in these things. And I figured that out when I was listening to your interview with Matt. Because he's like, look at, I got my stock at, what was it, $18 worth of options?
Right.
Something like that?
Somewhere at 18, 23.
Yeah, and he's like, I think people are fools for selling it at, $4 or $5. So.
It's very difficult, especially, and like anything else, it's learned behavior. Everybody's initial reaction, it's human nature to overreact to what's going on in the stock market. So, and that's what they count on. That's what the big money counts on. And they count, they will push things long enough that even the people who have a reasonable amount of patience oftentimes get punished. So a lot of times it does take extreme patience. Or if on the flip side, if you're a day trader type or a swing trader, there's other ways to make money. But from a buy and hold standpoint, it can be a long, brutal journey. Sour Mountain Gaming said, time for 100K. Agreed.
I like what he just said.
Who?
George, buy shares, then have your wife change your account password, and don't look at it until next year.
That's probably the
I
best
know. I
advice
agree to
ever.
buy and hold. I totally agree. And I just, you guys remember, I lost a ton of money, guys. I mean, a ton of money. The only thing is I made a ton of money other places. So it was kind of good that, I had a place to hide it, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this was the worst performance you had out of all of your assets was in the stock market,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. But here's the thing. This is what my whole life I've never done well in the stock market. I've always lost my what. And I look back to see if it's there and it's completely gone. But I will tell you that I credit my whole I'm an XRP probably maximist. Is that what you call it? I mean, I believe in XRP.
Yeah, and you
And
have dollar cost averaged and held your position in that. So
I'm up probably 30% right now in XRP.
see, this is the perfect example. I just want to use that example, George, for a second to explain to everybody, because you know why George was able to do that with XRP? Because he spent more time researching XRP than anything else. And that's how, so when everybody harps on, oh, do your own due diligence, blah, 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 that sounds like nonsense, but George has conviction in that because he's researched it inside and out. So when there's these minor fluctuations and bad things happen, he doesn't get nervous. If you don't spend a lot of time on a stock, it's harder to get through those. There's days where irrational things happen, and it looks like, oh man, this is it. I gotta get out.
Well, and I think that's the case right now with what's that company called? Not CleanSpark. Because they got to raise a ton of money, and it's so hard. You know what I mean? To see CleanSpark the way it is, and that they're selling.
Well, and he talked about. I mean, he openly talked about. I asked him about dilution. So again, if you haven't seen that, check it out because he goes into it and he says, we try to sell into strength. We don't and hold off on bad days, but we do have to raise more capital to get where we're going. So
yeah.
But if that capital, if they improve the value of the company by more than they're diluting the shares. That's the equation you got to look for. The companies that to me are, to everybody are bad. If it's a company's cash flow negative, they're not making money. They have no plans on making money in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and they continue to dilute just to pay the bills. That is not accretive dilution. That's just money that's gone. They're getting more from shareholders, and then it's, that money's gone forever. So that's not what's happening here. If you're getting infrastructure and growth from your dilution, I mean, this is a capital intensive industry, the Bitcoin mining industry. So
yeah, definitely. If you guys would do me a favor and hit the like stream if you like this kind of content, it gets us out there to more people.
Thank you, George.
So, Tom, but my whole thing with XRP, and I know we talk about Bitcoin all the time.
Yeah, no, hey, listen.
But with XRP, and I'm almost going with the top 10 coins besides the stable coins, because I think that's where our problem's going to lie, and I think that might rear its ugly head here very soon, is one of the stable coins. But
George has
with
been
XRP,
worried about a particular stable coin. You've been on record for over a year on the channel, so...
That I still think Tether is not, they're just not following general principle or general accounting guidelines. Let's put it that way. And how do you solve that? Are they based out of China? Do you know if Tether's based out of China?
I don't know. I don't remember. We could look it up. I didn't think so.
Because remember, China kicked the Big Four out.
The Big Four auditors. That's right.
The Big Four. Yeah, they kicked them. They said, "Nah, we no."
Yeah, and that's definitely a situation across the entire equity markets. You know, they're that's there are basically, well, as many of you know, there's four. It used to be the big eight way back when. Now it's the big four accounting firms that are international accounting firms, and you know, the China said get out, and no one's allowed to use them anymore. So, you know, that's not a very
Transparent.
it's not a very confidence instilling maneuver.
Yeah.
So, and they cited their own reasons. You know, we think you're, you know, spying on us type stuff. Yeah. So, you know, it is what it is, but it doesn't instill confidence in the investor. Let's just say that, even if they have their own good reason.
And that's one of the reasons why I hate.
Tom is saying this is all about BlackRock. It's a new game. Institutional investors are starting to step in. I think we are headed above 60,000 this year. I'm just gonna say it. I don't disagree with that, Tom. I haven't picked a number yet, but my number is higher than most people's. And yours is at 60,000. Most people do not think we're getting to 60,000. That's a very small percentage of the people. I'm going to end this other poll, and let's talk about that right now and let's see what people think. So, was this your best week of the year in the market? 52% said yes. So just a little over half of the people had their best week this week. So congratulations, everybody, on a good week. This was probably, you know, I would have to look, but if this wasn't my best week, it was one of them. And more than that, the price action in Bitcoin, if it can continue, I think there's better weeks ahead. So that's all going to be the question. If we get to, you know, even George was saying, you know, I think, you know, 35 we're going to max out and then maybe get whammied. I think there's a lot of running up the Bitcoin miners will do between right now and 35,000. So there's a lot of room left to run, in my opinion. We'll look more at that later. Let me get the next poll up.
Tom, I think we're going to hit a new high today. They finally might have opened us up.
Nice.
Yeah. What's your next poll going to be? Is it going to be the normal one?
Now, I'm going to do a little different, but yes, I'm going to say what's Bitcoin's high going to be this year?
My whole thing is once Tether's worked out in this whole crypto world, I think that we could be sitting in a much better position for Bitcoin. Because it's, I mean, I know it's not a ton, but I mean, wouldn't that be almost 20% of the value of Bitcoin?
What,
it's
Tether?
Like 80, yeah, it's like 82 billion.
It was over 80 billion the last time I looked. So.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, I don't even know if I should mention it, but I'm going to mention it.
You're in now.
I'm in. You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
FTX.
FTX.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
FTX, supposedly they dropped the charges, the federal charges against Sam Friedman.
Did you know what? That? Nothing? So
yeah, I know. I was like, are you kidding me? So nothing? And if you've noticed, nobody's talking about it. He's like just off the radar. That whole subject's off the radar. Like, do I have you stumped, or are you just focusing on your poll?
I'm typing. I'm not a good multitasker.
So if you're new to the channel, Tom audits, used to audit major companies, and now he is a Bitcoin. Are you going to say a Maximus?
I'm in that neighborhood.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be there are literally, I think a true maximalist thinks there is Bitcoin and nothing else, and the cryptocurrency world, like Michael Saylor, he thinks ultimately there will be no other projects, and it will be Bitcoin. So I won't go that far, but I do think there's Bitcoin and there's everything else.
Edmund, I love you. You should be a politician, Edmund. He's pumping Iris. I mean, iron.
But you're
Oh,
right.
you're
Stock
thinking
ticker Iron,
60.
but Iris Energy. Bitcoin high for
Yeah.
the year 2023, 35,000. That's Georgia's number. 45,000, 60,000, or are we going to hit a new all-time high before the end of the year, which would be greater than 69,000? What's everybody think? Ready, set, go. Voting is free, so please vote. And like George said, remember to smash the like button. Thank you, everybody, for hitting the like button. It's making a difference on the stream today, so much appreciated. Let's see. Alex is saying, without BlackRock or Fidelity ETF approval, 50 to 60. If approval granted, 100. So Alex is saying if we get that approval before the end of the year. I was just reading an article that said there is no way there will be any Bitcoin ETFs under the Biden administration, and I think that person is delusional. I just...
What did you hear? There's going to be a 2x ETF starting Tuesday for Bitcoin?
Like futures?
Yes.
See, they'll do these futures ETFs, but they won't do a spot ETF, and there's absolutely no...
No reason. Yeah, I can't understand.
There's no logic. No one's going to ever... So if somebody has a good debate for that, don't even waste your time with me, because my mind is made up. That doesn't make any sense.
By the way, my name's George, and I am the voice in the sky. You know that voice you hear when you're thinking? That's usually me.
That little voice in your head.
I moved to another state, and I can't find my video camera. But you probably wouldn't be watching if you saw how ugly I was. So sorry, guys.
Well, you've got your camera. That's what's going on. You don't want to get ready for this show, so.
I really don't have a camera. I swear to God. I left the camera down at the the Florida house.
Should we mail it to you?
You might have to. So there could be 2017, this was a long time ago. Does anybody know what happened when we hit? Didn't we have isn't there another future ETF for Bitcoin right now?
There's a futures ETF, but there is no spot Bitcoin ETF.
Right.
They have all been rejected, 100%.
Go look at what happened after that was released in 2017. Do you know what happened? Everybody thought Bitcoin was going to go up, and guess what happened?
Well,
it went down. Initially.
I feel like once there's an ETF, that's
a spot
one of
ETF. Explain to me what a spot ETF is. So, just pretend like I don't know.
That a spot ETF means they actually have to hold. So whether it's BlackRock or Fidelity or whoever ends up getting, obviously Grayscale is now suing to get, convert their trust to a spot ETF. They actually have to hold the underlying asset. So in this case, which would be Bitcoin. So, if they're, as people buy in, they have to buy Bitcoin. So, that adds a massive, massive amount to the demand for Bitcoin itself. They can't just say they're going to cover it. They have to own it. And that's a big, big fundamental difference. So, and
nice to see the spread on the voting, by the way. Sorry, go on.
The way that they propose, they put some special stuff. This is what they do. So they have, I don't know if they have 1,000 ETFs, some enormous amount. This is what they do. So they didn't submit this application unless they think that it's happening. That doesn't mean it's a done deal, and they're not going to have to duke it out because. But I will say, at this point, Gary Gensler has to be feeling like, you know what, I give up, because he threw the book at Binance, he threw the book at Coinbase, he jumped up and down and hollered and screamed, and what happened? Bitcoin went on one of its best runs of the year.
By the way, there's no way XRP doesn't settle. Well, I mean, I don't know if our side, XRP wants to settle, but if they don't settle, the SEC has some problems. They have some serious problems. You can't. You know what I'm talking about? The Hinsman. What is it called? Was it the Hinsmans? The letters written back in
Oh,
before
oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Heinsman or Hinsman or something like that.
Yeah, where they're basically
Basically,
on record as saying
yeah.
Ethereum
So,
is not a
well, the same with XRP
security.
too, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that they were
Yeah,
specifically said XRP.
they just released them. They were made to release them, and that's interesting. And so, how can you change? How can you go up? Sorry, we were wrong, and then change the position?
So Ty is saying, here's a fact you guys might not know. Bitcoin has a 50% dip each year. It did not happen this year yet. So, Ty, are you expecting
Hi.
a 50% dip? Now, I will tell you, it came into the year, and I'm not sure this has ever happened. It came into the year at, a 5-year low. Well, actually, I am sure it's never happened. This is the first time ever that we've gone below the previous high from the previous cycle. So we came into this year lower than we've ever been. Now, maybe we'll still have a 50% pullback. Maybe we'll run up to 50,000 and pull back to 25. I'm not anticipating that. So this is another one of those things. There's a lot of these trends, and Ty, this doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but there's a very small amount of data for Bitcoin. This is a fairly new asset.
Maybe they do a different calendar year.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's not a calendar year. I'm serious.
Well, my point is there's a lot of these statistics because this is a brand new thing. There's only, we're only our 4th cycle into this or whatever the case is. So a lot of these streaks that are undefeated, like Bitcoin has never done X or Y or Z. Well, all those things are breaking now, and they're all going to break eventually because, again, it's easy to be 3 for 3. But that doesn't mean that that is what is going to happen going forward. And just the fact that it has happened decreases the likelihood, right? Because everybody's expecting that. And what does big money do? The opposite of what everybody expects. So it's the what's
The
it
old
called?
reversal.
The Heisenberg principle.
Is that what it's called, really?
I could be wrong. I learned that in science 30 years ago, but the fact that we've observed the situation changes the future outcome of the situation effectively. So anybody who's a scientist can mock me on the stream later because I probably didn't get that quite right, but it's something to that effect. Breaking News asks, Tom, what do you think about GREE? Would you invest in GREE over Mawson if they were the only choices? So I will tell you, for me personally, GREE is in my bottom 2. And I'm going to bring up the chart. Let's go to GREE.
I have a new poll next time too, by the way.
Okay, you got the
we
next
have not
poll?
done. Yeah, it's.
I mean, look at this. Now they've started to run back up, but this is from April. So, it's June right now. This stock was down 80%. And, where everybody else is way up on the year, if you look at GREE, this is January. So even to today, they're down almost 80% from their high on the year. They're headed in the opposite direction of everybody else. I don't know what GREE's success formula is. When I look at their company and I see what they're doing, can they survive? I guess they can survive. So I see them surviving. I don't see them increasing their value. So now, like we talked about earlier, let me pull up their market cap because it's tiny. So from this perspective, if you think, hey, maybe I can catch a swing trade here. GREE's market cap is $17 million. This was $1 billion company. So, I mean, catastrophic doesn't even describe what has happened to GREE in the last year and a half. I've done a series of videos on this. I did this back when it was support.com, And it was really the first time I came out. I try not to do, I'm not going to say negative, but to me, George, you remember we did that one together, and it was like, it is clear there's an absolute, it was basically a mathematical fact. This is a train wreck, and there's nothing that can stop it.
Dude, I couldn't believe how many people wrote, "Thank you, you saved me."
Yes, yeah, that was one of our most liked videos. Thank you,
Yeah.
you saved my life savings, because it was a meme stock and people were piling into it when the math was just crystal clear. Now, obviously, at $17 million market cap, there's a big difference. So, yeah, might they go from 17 million back to 100 million? That would still leave them very small. So I guess there's an argument to be made there, but I have no conviction in what they're doing. So for me, I would not invest in this stock. So, that's not financial advice. To me, it does look like maybe, if somebody's pulling a swing trade in here, maybe there's opportunity there, or maybe somebody knows differently than me on this. If you have a argument to be made, make it in the chat and let us know why you think GRE's a good investment. But I'm staying away from it. That's just me personally.
Here's a good poll. What's going to get to? Is Bitcoin going to get to 100,000 before Elon Musk Tesla gets to 1,000?
Oh, before the stock gets to 1,000?
Yeah. Yep.
Aha. All right. Okay. Well, let's end this, because this poll looks like a runaway. So the potentials were in last place 35,000. So 11% of the people think that 35,000 is going to be the high for the year. 58% of the people think 45,000 is going to be the high for the year. And I think that this group is very consistent with the whole entire market. I think that's where, if we were somehow to be able to poll 100,000 people, I think we'd get that type of result. That's the market's expectation. So I think we're in agreement there. 60K got 16%, and new all-time high got 15%. So that's actually 31% of the people that think we're going to be at 60K or better. So this group is probably, in that regard, a little more optimistic than the overall market is. But, this is a Bitcoin type of a channel and stream, so that's not surprising either. But I might be in that group. I think Bitcoin's going to get further than people are expecting. But 45,000, I think that's probably the conventional wisdom, and that's almost at 60% now. So that won that poll in a runaway. That got a lot of votes too. So thank you for your participation in the poll. George, what's the next one?
No, I thought that was a good poll. You don't think that's a good poll? What's going to get to 1,000 Tesla or Bitcoin 100,000?
That's perfect.
That's a quick one. And then I got another poll. The other poll was, what Bitcoin miner is going to file bankruptcy next? And I think you got a few that could go there. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but... And then I was also thinking, Tom, we should contact those Bitcoin miners and say, hey, we want to have a talk with you.
Let's talk. Oh, maybe there's some potential asset sale.
Yeah, I mean, because someone's making that money and doing that deal.
Okay, here we go. Which will happen first? Bitcoin hits $100,000 or Tesla stock hits $1,000. Let's see if we have any Tesla. I know we have some people that are a fan of Tesla. I mean, this is not the Tesla Central by any means, but
I'm really thinking about that poll, and I don't know. That's a rough one. I'm not, you know what I mean?
It's not a no-brainer as far as you're concerned.
No, that's a tough poll. Don't you agree or no?
To me, I think it's a no-brainer, and I'm not saying they both won't happen, but
I know which way I'm going.
I wonder how Kathy Wood would answer that question.
That's the whole reason for the question, by the way. It's because I was thinking of her when I thought of it. I was like, you know what? Here's a good question that somebody should ask Kathy.
That would be fascinating, because her price target for both of these assets is so significantly higher than either of these numbers.
Right, yeah.
It would be interesting to see what she said.
What do you think needs to happen for Bitcoin to go parabolic this year? Is there anything that can happen
For
Bitcoin to go parabolic, for the price just to go absolutely insane again?
I do.
Do you
I
think
think
it's about adoption from people? I mean, or do you think there's something is it more retail people getting into it? Is it more the dollar crashing more? I mean, what do you think it is, Sam, that's going
I
to
the
send it?
the potential big catalysts, some of which I think we can rule out in 2023. So if and when we get some clear regulations from the United States, that is going to be a big catalyst. But there's no chance of that happening in 2023. So
Right.
so that won't be it. But someday that will be it, and that's going to be yet another catalyst for Bitcoin to go up at that time, in my opinion. The ETF, the spot ETF, most people think, that would, at the earliest, that's going to happen about 1 year from now. But I think there's several situations where that could happen in 2023. Yeah, it's absolutely stunning to me that they've been able to say no. At some point, Gary Gensler might find himself looking for a different job, because, if you listen to what Jerome Powell said this week while he talked, those guys are on very different pages. So, Jerome, and that was one of the catalysts this week. Jerome Powell just came right out and said, listen, this is an asset class. This is a type of money. This is real. It's here. It's not going anywhere. So, no one else politically, with his clout, has come out and said stuff like that. So I think he's being more realistic. Now, obviously, none of this is ever going to fall under Jerome Powell's domain, so he doesn't have any. But to me, that allows him to give a more honest answer, right? Gary Gensler still trying to, other than with Bitcoin, even the SEC is not trying to get their hands on Bitcoin at this point. That is an absolute done deal. That's not happening. But they're trying to get their hands on absolutely everything else.
Why do you think that is, that they don't go after Bitcoin? Because didn't they just ask for, file a lawsuit and say that the person who was whoever made Bitcoin has to show up in court?
I don't know the answer to that, but good luck, because there's no enforcing that.
I know. I'm just telling you that they did ask for, they did sue, not sue, but ask for whoever produced Bitcoin to show up in a court. It's supposed to be, I think, next month.
And
I don't know who you serve.
And who shows up, right? Anybody could show up, right? We could show up. We did it.
I'm actually thinking about showing up.
Nobody
walking in and walking like I'm gonna go walk through, and then sit right in the front.
Yeah, that ship has sailed. We are never going to know who, quote unquote, invented Bitcoin, whether it was a person or a group of people or whoever the case. And there's a million.
A person, a place, or a thing.
It's a person, place, or thing. We know that much for sure, and that's probably about all we're ever going to know.
I thought it was AI.
Maybe it could be somebody from the future.
Yeah,
that came back in time. That's not in my top 10 theories, but I can't rule it out. Ty is saying commodity versus security. Yeah, I mean, that's the debate, commodity versus security, and there is no debate with Bitcoin. A lot of people feel very confident that Ethereum will be a commodity, but there still is plenty of debate left. And the fact that they moved from proof of work to proof of stake leaves that door wide open, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, and certainly there's a lot of Ethereum enthusiasts who think I don't know what I'm talking about, but I don't think there's any comparing Bitcoin and Ethereum. I just don't. From an adoption standpoint, is Ethereum always going to be a big thing? I think so, probably, right? It's got massive adoption, and so I'm not saying it doesn't have worth. I just think from a store of value, from a security standpoint, from all the other things. Bitcoin was first. Bitcoin. Well, here, let's bring up a
Uh-oh,
chart.
Tom. Breaking news just in. That's his name too. Did they do that after 5? They must have did that after the close today.
What happened?
Annie just announced they're going to do a reverse split.
They were probably announcing that as we talked about it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Let's take a look.
So what are your thoughts, Tom, on that?
I mean, we literally just said it was going to happen, so there is no surprise.
No, not that. But what do you think is going to happen to the stock?
I think
we know it's going to get hammered.
I think in the short term it's going to get hammered, but I'm going to go there right now because this is another one where if it does get hammered, I'll probably buy it.
Really?
Their market cap is $26 million. So to me, that's why, I was deciding between any and Stronghold, because Stronghold's market cap is $23 million. I think there's no comparing those two companies. I think Stronghold has a much better business model, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean any isn't, that doesn't mean any isn't going to make it, and that any won't, from $25 million, you can 4x and still only be a $100 million company, which, remember, that is still a micro-cap company. That's still at the small end of a micro-cap company. So that is totally possible. And if this were to tank on that news, is anything happening after hours with this? Nothing. So where did you get this breaking news?
Breaking News said that was their name on YouTube. It's called Breaking News. That's their
breaking
name.
news. Sphere 3D just announced a reverse stock split. What's your thoughts on any? So I could go to their site. It's not if they did do a press release, it hasn't been out to the world yet, but let's go look and see at their site. So if this has a big pullback, this would be a swing trade for me. So that's my personal advice, or no, sorry, not advice, not financial advice. That is my personal opinion. Because I think Stronghold, right? I try to spread it around, and I am in a bunch of these Bitcoin miners, but when I look at one versus the other, and that's the comparison that I made, I felt like Stronghold had a lot more upside and a lot less risk. That's my opinion. But if any has a giant pullback because of this reverse split, and that could take weeks and weeks. Sometimes there's a double pullback. The day it's announced, it gets a big pullback, and then when it happens, it gets another pullback. FE702, thank you for the super chat. Cores,
thank you, sir.
To the moon. Yeah, what?
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Let's.
Have you even spoken about that? What did they ever say at the bankruptcy hearing, or did they come up with a strategy?
I looked yesterday, and I haven't looked today, and I looked on their website. I looked at the SEC. I know of no new news, so somebody let me know if there's news out there on this that I'm missing. I spent a bunch of time looking yesterday, and I did not see anything. But
do you? What is that one company? There's this one company that comes out with all the news of all the SEC filings. Like, that's what they stock. Is it stock, like, tidbits, or you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Stock Tips?
Yeah, is that what it is? Stock Tip? They have, like, all the information that comes out with the filings, and you can go there instead of looking up individual.
I want to go to Core Scientific because this had a... Yeah. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to go all the way to the top. That was 128%, but even where it closed, it's up over 100% in the last week. So, and that's after it was already up. So from the bottom, this got down to 4 cents, which is just crazy. And what's more crazy is I bought none. I bought 0 shares at 4 cents. It's up 1,520%. So congratulations to everybody who hung in on the Cores trade. I don't know where they're going to end up, but this, I mean, this is why I love this. Even though I missed the whole thing, so I'm kicking myself. I missed the entire trade on this. But this is what I love about the Bitcoin miners. This is a 15x, right? And not in years and years. This is in 6 months, a little less than 6 months. This stock 15x'd. So these moves happen in the Bitcoin mining space, and there's very few industries that this happens in. So, you know, you see a lot of, especially on YouTube, you see a lot of, this is going to 10x, this is going to 100x, this is going to this, that. That is not very common, but it's a documented historical fact. In this industry, this happens. So congratulations to everybody that caught this. I am not in that group, unfortunately. And I don't know why that run. So let me know if there was. So it's. Oh, Bazinga. Or Benzinga.
Bazinga.
Bazinga. Bazinga Benzinga.
Tom, would you consider Marathon a long-term hold? Would it be profitable in the future? I know they come close last earnings.
Marathon, I do. I mean, if I were to get into Marathon, and I'm not in them, and I've been in and out of them, I caught a fantastic run with them in 2021. So I almost feel like, you know, that's one of the only ones I got out at the right time on. I did hold a lot of things from the top. Anyway, yeah, to me, Marathon, if you're, you know, this Marathon's a lot of things. I'm more of a buy and hold person, so for me it would be a buy and hold if I bought into it. I am in Riot as one of my larger positions, and I don't, even though they're different companies, so I'm not saying they're the same company. But to me, just like that pair of Any or Sphere 3D, I don't want to be in both of those. And with Riot and Marathon, I don't want to be in both of those, and that has to do with market cap. Those two are far and away the largest market caps in this industry. It's not even close. Now, all of a sudden, BitDeer came out of nowhere, and they are now in third place, but even that's a distant third place. Cypher used to be in third place, and they were, you know, 30% the market cap of those guys or less. So I don't want to be heavy into the two biggest market caps by a mile, because they're not, to me, they're not the two biggest companies. There's several other companies that are going to vie for that position over the next couple of years, in my opinion. They're both in the conversation, clearly. And right now, obviously, in May, Marathon mined, I think, 1,245 Bitcoin. That was the most, Core Scientific notwithstanding. Core Scientific I have not been counting because they are in Chapter 11, so I'm just not sure, you know, what they're going to look like when they come out of that. But they're about even. Those two mined almost the same. Core Scientific still did mine a little bit more than Marathon last month. So, I don't know. There could still be huge upside left for Core Scientific. I'm always so scared of the things in Chapter 11 because to me it's like buying a lottery ticket. You know, it's like a scratch-off when you find out when they come out of Chapter 11, oh, I won. This one was worth a lot of money. Or, oh, you know, try again next time. So, that's just my personal way that I view those. So, there's so many to me that I get this, you know, we get so much information from the Bitcoin miners. So, you can really dig in and get an up-close and personal look and make some informed decisions. So, I've stayed away from this, and it's been the best trade of the last 6 months, so there you go. This too shall pass says, hello, Tom and George. Hello, welcome. I'm just reading, trying to read my way into the chat.
You find a whole bunch of random keys and wonder what they go to? I always keep the key to the car I sold, so in case I want to take it back. I don't know if you guys do that.
That's a good idea. Do you got a GPS on it or a low jack or whatever?
Shh. Don't tell anybody.
All right, so we'll give this poll another minute, but it looks like by far and away, right now, 80% of those surveyed think that Bitcoin will reach $100,000 before Tesla's stock reaches $1,000.
It's nice to see the 80-20 rule come into play, huh?
Yeah, fine. There's your 80-20 rule in effect. Yeah. Do we have the next poll? Because I'll shut this one down. I think the people have spoken. But first, we're super close. So anybody who hasn't, if you could please hit the like button.
If you like it.
If you like the channel, if you enjoy the channel, if you enjoy spending time with George and I from time to time.
Probably a lot of ex-girlfriends hoping I'm going to show my face, but sorry, honey. Sorry, lady. Not today.
That's not in the cards today. Wait a second. You thought it wasn't, but boom. The George. We got our George
Do you think
button.
We should pick 4 miners that have a potential of going out of business?
Oh. All right.
No?
Let's
get. Is that too mean?
Well, hey.
I mean, it's not mean. It's real. It's a real situation.
I'm not rooting for anybody to go out of business, but that's one of the questions you ask yourself, right? That's a part of the risk-reward deal. Wes K is saying, last I saw, Mara has mined 745 Bitcoin this month, so I know they're not going to keep up with May. And I expect that almost every Bitcoin miner will not produce as many Bitcoin in June as they did in May for 2 reasons. The difficulty level continues to increase, so that's one reason. But the other reason is May was a gigantic bonus. We had that ordinals thing. We had fees that were off the charts. Never, I don't know that we'll see those types of fees ever again. And that really bumped up everybody's numbers a lot in May. So it's going to be super tough to compete with, May numbers month over month. So we'll have to, wait till the end of the month and compare everybody's results as we always do. Gary's saying, I doubt Mara will mine 1,000 coins in June. So much curtailing with high cost per coin and no huge ordinals this month make it worthwhile not to curtail. Right. So yeah, Gary's talking about the same thing I am. When the fees were approaching the same size as the rewards, this was a no-brainer. There were, everybody was mining as fast and as furiously as they could and getting a lot of extra Bitcoin in fees. So that's gone away for now. Breaking news, guys. After the halving, will all these miners lose half their market cap as they will produce less Bitcoins? So let's do our... That kind of leads right into your poll, George. After the halving, I don't remember who I was watching, but they were big... this is... Some people like this guy. Some people do not like him. But I'm pretty sure... Well, I don't want to misquote him. I think this was Pomp that was talking about... Bitcoin's got to be at 50,000 for the halving. And I feel the same way. Like, there's going to be some Bitcoin miners in big trouble if Bitcoin's not somewhere in that neighborhood. And that might happen. So this goes to George's question of, if that doesn't happen, if we're still sideways and Bitcoin's at 32,000 at the halving, which is just 1 year from now, who's most likely to not make it?
Who is most likely not to make it? I don't know. It's an interesting question, but there's a lot of people that are on the fence, Tom.
I don't even know who to include on this list. I mean, I know who I would include.
Well, Annie has to be on it, and Gree has to be on it. Those are the 2 that we have to rate. I mean, those 2.
Yep, and I got one more.
And then, what you're going to say?
I'm going to put Argo Blockchain on there.
Oh, yeah, Argo.
That's one of my lower conviction plays.
Should we put Iris on there?
No way.
That's for Edmund. What about Marathon?
Let me see if there's another one that,
who else
is a high risk reward scenario.
I mean, look, Luxfolio went out of business, and I made money on them, and then I took all the money I made and put it into stock again, and then I lost. But so did I really lose?
Edmund says, agree with Tom and Pomp about Bitcoin at or above 50K in April 2024. All right. Thank you, Edmund. Who's the next in line? Who has higher? To me, I'm looking at the ones who have
What about Stronghold?
higher cost per coin and, aren't really ramping up that much. So they're going to have not much exahash. You want to put Stronghold on the list?
I mean, they have potential of not making it, Tom.
They do, indeed.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a shocker on the list. Well, no, you know what? You're right. Because Stronghold has some debt as well. Okay, so most likely to not make it through the next halving, Gree, Any, Argo Blockchain, or Stronghold. What do we think?
I know which one I'm going with. I'm not telling anybody. Go ahead.
If you're a bull and you think everybody's going to make it, put yourself in a situation.
I did it at 4, and everybody's 25. Everybody picked somebody else. That's so funny. I picked the one that nobody else picked.
Let's see if that holds or if somebody pulls away. So just ask yourself this: if for some reason we do not end up, in a bull market, if for some reason Bitcoin's still, between $30,000 and $35,000, then who do you think's not going to make it in that instance, in that situation? Oh, last time I'm asking if anybody would be so kind to smash the like button. We are at 96 likes. We were getting 100 likes every single live stream on Friday, and then the market.
We have always gotten 100, Tom. Really?
There were a couple Fridays where, because remember the last couple months have been brutal. The last week and a half has been great. Maybe 2 weeks, I lose track, but before that we had that. Let me bring up the chart. There was a long, tough. This is when everybody was saying this is getting so boring. This is brutal. It's like watching paint dry, and that was this. From the middle of April to the middle of June, right? I mean, we just sat here in this descending channel. And then finally we bounced off of, this was the magic number. Was 25 going to hold? And it did. And it's been, from the bottom of this candle wick, which was June 15th. Really? So today's June 23rd. That's 8 days ago. So I'm going to go till now, not to the top. That's a 24% run we've had. That is a big run in just a little over 1 week.
That's beautiful if you look at it.
But in the 2 full months prior to that, we had the opposite. We slowly drifted down 20%. So a 20% pullback. That's business as usual in Bitcoin. So in hindsight, and we did talk about this and showed this exact illustration several times. Somewhere between a 20 to 25% pullback, that seems to be what we get from time to time. This is what happens to Bitcoin. So 20% is nothing for Bitcoin. So fortunately it did stop there and turn around. I think it's going to keep going, but I'm bullish. Oh, Edmund's saying Mawson we should have put on the list.
Oh, yeah. Ah!
Barry's saying everybody vote Stronghold, Tom's newly open position. And, that's right, and my members deep dive this week. So, I hope that does not win. That's a good point, Barry.
Do you remember when banks didn't charge anything?
I remember when you could get a candy bar for a quarter.
A nickel?
No, I don't remember a nickel, but I
remember
a quarter.
I remember a quarter, yeah. I'm in shock. They're like $2 now, Tom.
I know. Trust me, I buy a lot of candy. That's my vice. So I think I'm going to have next on the channel, let me know in the chat. Hive did reach out and talk about coming on the channel. So, you know, I'd be glad to have them on. We've had Frank and Aiden on at the same time. We've had Frank on by himself. We had Aiden on by himself. I think people vastly prefer, no offense, Aiden, thank you for coming on and doing the interview. I do appreciate it, but it seems like people prefer to hear from Frank. Or both of them. So we've got that, and we're going to talk to Sue about everything, I guess. They finally put some news out this week. So I brought up all this stuff I was going to talk about, and I never get to any of it. So we'll just talk about a few of those things. Breaking News said, can you redo the poll with Mawson? Looks like we would have had a lot of Mawson votes if I put them in there. Let's see. I haven't looked, so let me see.
What gets me though is it looks like there's a lot of companies that could go out of business.
There's if Bitcoin does not do well at the halving, there's a lot of these companies where, you know, even if they don't go out of business, why would you invest in them? They're, from an investor standpoint, I would have no interest in them at all. And I wouldn't see any path to a place where I would have interest in them, even if somehow they squeaked by. Oh, we got two that are kind of battling it out here in the poll. So if you haven't voted, voting is free.
Tom, try to get Gree, the management team, agree. But they're so small now. I mean, who even cares about them? No offense, Gree.
It's just, I'm going to pull up Gree. This is a sad story.
Is it really a sad story?
Well, if you're an investor, this is your nightmare. This might be the worst stock I've ever seen in the history. I'm just talking about stock performance. In the history of looking at stocks in the stock market, this might be the worst stock I've ever seen. Look at where I'm going here. I'm not done. Are you seeing this? Is this real time?
Yeah. It could be.
Okay, so accounting for all the stock splits and mergers and whatnot that's happened, this stock went from, let's see if I can get the exact, $5,190. By the way, that's less than 2 years ago. So I'm not saying like, oh, back, you know, when I was a kid. No. Less than 2 years ago, adjusted for stock splits, this was over $5,000. It's now $2.94. So, challenge to all who are watching: find me a stock that's done worse than this ever.
There you go, Ryan.
Right, I can't even get down to $2. It's, you know, it's somewhere around 99.9% this stock is down. Whoa, what happened? What's going on?
No, I gifted 10 memberships to people.
Oh.
Because Ryan said, give me a membership. So I gifted. So.
Oh, thank you very much to George for gifting 10 memberships. Ryan got a membership. AG ROC Keith. Thank you. I'm glad Keith has been with us for a long time. So glad.
Yeah.
Eric.
So what is it? Tuesday at 4:15 is when we do the member only stream.
Yes, Tuesdays 4:15. Thank you, JR. It's been with us for a long time.
Right,
so congratulations to everybody that just won a free membership. Welcome aboard all. Sour Melon Gaming. Oh, right here in the same space. SOS is down 99.7%. Thank you, Sour Melon Gaming. Yeah, that's another nightmare for those of you who remember. Ryan said, "Thank you, George. Your karma will be explosive gains in your portfolio."
I'm sorry, Steven.
Oh, Steven.
You know, it's so funny. We got to celebrate some people being happy and some people being sad, Steven.
Well, Steven, thank you for being a paid member. Remember, the free members get a 1-month membership, and they can decide if they like it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you think there's some value to it. I mean, personally, I do.
I certainly hope that people think that we spend a lot of time on this. So
Tom does. Tom spends, I mean, literally morning, noon, and night doing this.
yeah, and there's days where you don't even see me do a video where I've spent 10 hours working on this stuff because I gotta, the research is endless. Also, that could be a me issue, but.
Well, we were talking about this. Tom and I were talking about this of the research he does. He doesn't do like research like probably I would do or maybe you guys would do. I'm saying maybe. And that is, kind of roll the dice and, really think about, wow, that's a good opportunity here. He actually dives deep. I mean, I think if I could honestly ask Tom, are you in shock with the price of the Bitcoin miners right now? I think I know his answer.
Am I in shock with where they're
Yes.
at? I mean, it depends from what day you ask me. Like
the price of like for example, Marathon, for the Riot, Cleanspark. Are you in shock that those prices are currently as low as they are?
yeah, I would say across the board. I think most of these Bitcoin miners, well, let me just say many, are still extremely undervalued in my opinion. So it becomes a stock picker's market, in my opinion, inside of the Bitcoin. Not every single one is going to win, but there are several of these that are not just going to win a little bit, in my opinion. They're going to 5x, 10x, 15x. I know that sounds, there's going to be a lot of people that laugh when I say that, but we literally just looked at one that 15x'd in the last 6 months. So, this is how it works. I believe the next bull run is coming, and there's plenty of these stocks that are very, very... Remember, even a $200 million stock is a micro cap stock. That's a very, very... It's too small to be in the Russell. So these are tiny market caps. I look at other companies, I look at companies that are... going to have, they're projecting $10 million revenue this year and $30 million next year. So, right, that's 300% growth. And they're a $5 billion market cap. Well, here we have companies with massive revenue, I believe many of which will be highly profitable next year, and they're 1/10 that size, or 1/20th that size, or 1/50th that size. Some of these are 1/100th that size. So, yeah, I get excited, I get ramped up, but I think there's massive opportunity. Very rarely do you get opportunities like this. Now, it also came with a big, giant beatdown in what was a bear market / crypto winter. It was also a bear market for the entire market. Particularly, small cap stocks got destroyed. I can't tell you how many, even outside of the Bitcoin miners, there's at least 100 stocks that I watched that were down more than 80% in, a year and a half. That's not how this usually works. So this was one of the toughest runs in, generations. This is top 5 toughest markets of all time that we just kind of, I think, came out of. I think it's behind us now, but, only time will answer that question.
I figured out what I hate the most, by the way, in life.
Ah,
You want to know what it is?
absolutely.
Time.
Time is all we have.
Time. Because we're not getting any more of it, right? And we don't know how much we have left. Does that make sense?
That's a fact, and You know, in a lot of ways, it's really the only thing we actually have. And you're
Right.
right. We don't know how much is left. So time is
Right.
precious.
It is. I was thinking about that, and so for that, I thank you guys for watching us today.
Yeah, for spending your time with us.
No, you think about it. You don't want to spend time with people that make you angry and mad. Sorry, Tim. Hope you're watching. But you know what I mean? I gotta see if he's. That'd be funny.
I think
But,
Tim was here earlier.
but yeah, he was. But I think it's okay to be challenged, and I think it's okay to look at both sides of the coin. Wait, the Bitcoin. Sorry.
Oh, Tom is pointing out Mawson is going into the Russell 3000 today. Big, Robert said, big, giant beat down. I mean, this was a tough one. And AG, shout out to, oh, come on. David Bowie. Time can't chase me, and I can't chase time.
I don't know. Do you get more time by losing weight? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do. So for the last 2 weeks, I've only been eating fish. That's my new thing is fish.
Hopefully, losing weight, getting healthy. Yes, hopefully
I'm just trying to lose a little bit of weight now. I've lost, listen to this, guys. I've lost 8 inches off of my stomach. 8 inches. Isn't that insane? 8 inches.
That's awesome. That is insane.
8 inches, and I'm still in the 40s. It's like, wow, I got up into the 50s. There's Tim.
Hey.
That's funny, Tim.
Welcome, Tim. I thought I saw you earlier. Let's see. Tom, would you agree that the age of the machine fleet of each of these miners is increasingly important because some of these small miners have old machines inefficient? So there's no doubt after the halving, there's going to be a lot of machines that are just going to get unplugged, period. So, and it's one of the things I talked about with Matt in the interview, if you haven't seen. So he weighs in. I kind of asked him, listen, are the, that first S19 that came out, is that still going to be good after the halving? So you can listen to his answer on that. But that's how close it is. So imagine, even the S17s, I think, those got to be I won't say thrown out. Those are going to be unplugged after the halving, and everything older than that, those are all going to be gone. The XPs have such a higher level of efficiency, and a year from now, there's going to be something that's better than that. So I do think a lot of these. I'll give you the greatest example. Bit Digital really never plugged any of their machines back in. So, I've mentioned this before on the channel. They still talk about how they have, 26,000 or 36,000. I think they say 36,000 machines, but 26,000 of those have not been plugged in years, and they're never going to get plugged in again. So, do they really have they have the machines, but that's why they bought 10,000, I think 19 Pros or something like that. So they bought 10,000 new machines, a year ago. That's really the vast majority of their entire fleet that's up and running. So all their other machines, I think, are probably already obsolete. So I just want to show you guys something while I'm talking about that, because this boggles my mind. I'm boggled. So $359 million market cap. Bit Digital, $359 million market cap. More than Iris Energy, more than Bitfarms, maybe more than Hive. I mean, this market cap has gone bananas. Let's just see. Had anybody invested in this at the low. So if you caught the full run on this, again, this is less than 6 months. Less than 6 months. The full run on this was 745% in less than 6 months. So once again, you know, for all the people who, you know, mock and say my, you know, thumbnails are clickbait when I say 5x or whatever, this is already a 7x. In fact, it's 745%. It's an 8.5x technically. So, but on this one, my question is why? Because they put out a press release today, right? So you guys are familiar with the press releases that come out from these companies. Like, look at Cleanspark's press releases. Oh, we bought 45,000 machines, right? Here's Bit Digital. Let me find the actual, because you got to dig for it. Uh, 2.5 megawatts of incremental hosting capacity relative to the original agreement, which will be filled with approximately 800 S19J Pro Plus mining units. So this is a press release that they're going to plug in another 800 machines. Okay, this is what, and it's been press release after press release. We're going to plug, here's another 200 machines. Here's another 100 machine. Here's another 800 machines. This company has a very small exahash. I think they're at 1.2 exahash overall. They produce almost, you know, very little Bitcoin. They're not in the top 10 in Bitcoin production. They're not even close, and they're not even close in exahash. But somehow this is second to only Core Scientific. This is the best performing Bitcoin mining stock out of all of them in the year 2023. And their actual performance, to me, this mystifies me. So who's buying this? Are you guys, did any of you guys make this run? And if so, congratulations, but also question mark. Like what was your line of reasoning thinking, hey, you know, Bit Digital's really going places? I'm not going to do it because Edmund said don't do it. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. But this is actually a Bitcoin miner I would think about shorting. That's how overvalued I think this company is. Again, not financial advice. That's my personal opinion. But this is the one that confuses me the most out of all the Bitcoin miners. What is going on here? So if Bit Digital, if management, if you guys want to come on the show and explain this to me and tell me what I'm missing, you're welcome to.
Oh, and do me a favor, if you guys could, anybody that has like a Instagram or social media account, if you wouldn't mind sharing Tom's Cleanspark video, that would mean a lot to us.
Oh, thank you. Good point, George. Yeah, the stuff like the Cleanspark video really helps, you know, the channel if you're able to share it throughout other social medias. I'm not great at, I got to get better at using the other social medias. And have to go to George is the
So
TikTok
okay.
and Twitter, and you're better at all the other social medias than I am.
Well, I mean, just because I like them doesn't mean I'm better.
But
You know what I mean?
It's true. You kind of got this. This is a world where anybody that's willing to share, and I know a lot of you guys do that, so we appreciate it very much. It does help the channel.
And thank you for encouragement, guys. It means a lot too. You know, just to hear, good job. I mean, I know it's crazy, but it does. I ain't doing it for me. I already love my body.
George, hold on. You got to get one of these. I don't know if there's a time delay when I press the button. Is the George button up yet? Edmund saying Iris should be at $15 plus. Period. And I think it will be, Edmund. I've been adding to it. I mean, I know you were way earlier than I was on that one. But that's been my number one addition in the year 2023, and I do think it's still way undervalued, and it's 15 is very reasonable price target. AG is saying Bit Digital is not available for trade in my country, and that's probably true in a lot of places. I still think it's a Cayman Islands company.
Oh, is it really?
Darren saying Tom could seriously help himself posting his own stuff on Twitter. Instagram is useless in my opinion. So Darren's saying use Twitter. I think you're right, Darren. I've heard that somewhere. George. I can't remember who told me that.
What, to host your own stuff?
To put my stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter isn't as toxic as it used. It's not like Reddit. You know what I mean? Not saying Reddit's a bad site.
For those of you from Reddit, all are welcome, but I will say sometimes some of the people from Reddit, I feel like don't get it, and they're more just trolling, looking to troll and criticize and ridicule. The very few negative comments we get, I know they're from people from Reddit. So apologies if you're on Reddit, because also I do know that it's a wildly popular and useful site in a lot of other ways, but that's all I have to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
Darren's saying Tom can promote his own channel. I'll help promote it only for a fee. That's from Darren. Gary said, good to see over 100 likes again. Thank you, Gary. Yes, over 100 likes. Very much appreciated.
Tom, where are we going for dinner? We're not going to dinner, Tom.
No, not today. I don't know. I'm stuck on food. Barry said, I found this channel on Reddit. Well, I'm glad you found it, Barry. Thank you very much.
I didn't know that.
I'm glad. I know my kids beat me up when I say things about Reddit because they use it and they get it, but I don't. Maybe I'm old. I don't know what to tell you, but I appreciate that you found it, and I'm glad when people share it. We appreciate all of the sharing that everybody does. It has helped the channel, as Barry is proving right now. Yeah. He found us on Reddit. So there you go. AG said, when I saw the spike, I waited days for you, Tom and G. Do you think Marathon will reach $15? So I mean, in my mind, that's a very modest price target. That's a short-term price target. If Bitcoin, and this is, to me, most of these are contingent on if Bitcoin, even if it just takes the run George is talking about to 35,000, I think most of these Bitcoin miners are going to, jump substantially between here and there. So I think 15 is a pretty reasonable price target in the short term if Bitcoin can finish out this run and take the next leg up. So that's my opinion. Oh, Ruts. Sorry, let's see. Ruts GA, however you pronounce that. Found you on StockTwits. So thank you. I appreciate it. I did notice oftentimes, especially the interviews, people do repost on StockTwits, so thank you very much for that. I like StockTwits. I actually haven't been on in a little while, but I had a run where I was on StockTwits every day.
What exactly is that?
It's just a forum where people talk about stocks. So Reddit is talking about everything in the world, and then there's subreddits. StockTwits is like, you can just look up every single stock, and there's a conversation going. You can like add them to your list and, you know, be a member or whatever. I don't know if that's the right word, and, you know, participate in the conversation. So, and make posts and discuss each stock. So like, you know, Cleanspark has its own StockTwits spot. So probably somebody posted that interview on StockTwits. I'm guessing, but I don't know that. AG saying, I think I did too. Been a subscriber since the early days. Yes, thank you very much, AG. Much appreciated. Crisis King says, gotta love Reddit. Breaking News says, Tom, do you know how many self-miners GREE has? So I believe, and I'll have to double check this, but I think the way their world worked out, they have about 1 exahash of self-mining. They might not even have them all plugged in yet. They didn't for most of the year, but I think that's what's going on. And I'm not sure how their path is to grow. Now they're doing hosting past that, but you guys probably know my feeling about hosting. That has not gone well for anybody, as far as I can tell. And for some, it's been an absolute total disaster. Wes is saying Marathon traded 87 million shares today. No other miner is even close. And remember, Marathon has one of the higher stock prices. So at 87 million shares, their volume of trading, they are a heavily... That's why Marathon and Riot have such a bigger market cap. They have more institutional adoption. They're much more heavily traded, so they're a lot more liquid. So, you know, those two for now have that advantage. But I do think others will catch up to them. Let's check in on this poll. Let's see what happened. Most likely to not make it through the next halving. Okay. Ooh. All right. Who skewed the results? I can't remember who that was. Was it Barry or Gary? Somebody said vote for Stronghold because they were in dead last place, and now they're if I let this go on too much longer, they're going to be in first place. So we have, this is super close. GREE at 30%. GREE was running away with this, but now it's very close. GREE at 30%, Stronghold at 28%, Argo Blockchain at 27%, and Any in a distant last place at 16%. So people have the most confidence in Any out of the 4 of those. And I'm going to let the poll go for a couple more minutes because, I mean, it's almost a 3-way tie for first. Oh, see what's happening? As each minute passes, Stronghold gets a bigger and bigger and bigger number. Guys.
You guys are so funny.
You're skewing, you're manipulating the data. It is now a first place tie. So for those members, I'm going to do a deep dive on Stronghold. So if you voted that you think they're going out of business, you're probably not going to want to watch that next one. I disagree. For the record, it's no spoiler alert that I do not think Stronghold is going out of business. So we'll end this with a tie. GREE and Stronghold. Although this poll is under protest. Oh, GREE just pulled ahead with one last vote. But that's it. Trey's asking, can you look at MBOT medical robotic surgery, 100% success on their trials? So I will tell you, I'm not going to spend much time on that. I have looked at that a couple of different times. It's not what, it might be a great stock. It's the area I understand the least that I'm not very good at. So I don't like to look at them and talk about stuff that I'm clueless on. But Trays is saying check out MBot. Robert is saying, Tom, good job on the CleanSpark video. Thank you very much. Oh, let's see. I fell way behind. I didn't realize. Bitcoin Rules. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the streams. Hi, Tom. Bought CleanSpark for the first time. All right. Welcome to the party. So Robert Anderson brings up a good point. So I'm just going to read his point and let you guys be the judge. Does anybody believe Riot's cost per coin ? With their funny numbers with hosting? I think that's an excellent question. If you guys haven't, if you're not familiar with Riot, you can check out my last Riot video. I do talk about this, and you can check, you know, you obviously do your own due diligence and take a look. Something to me, the math is fuzzy. Let's just call it, let's just say that. So I think that's a very fair question, Robert. Defund the Short said, then we have Investors Hub. Oh, Barry is claiming this was you, Barry, that ruined our poll. Thank you.
I think what's sad is these guys are taking pleasure out of this.
Well, I know when we vote, sometimes in the members, when we vote on a stock, I almost feel like everybody's trying to pick a stock that's going to torture me. Well, having said that, we've picked a lot of awesome stocks. The last two in a row, we've had some real, in my opinion, some phenomenal stocks in the members only deep dives. But I will say the last two in a row had a bad day today. C3AI, I did a deep dive at them when they were trading at around $45, and my opinion was I would not touch this stock with a 10-foot pole. I think this still has nowhere to go but down, in my opinion. Now, is it going to be a good swing trade for some people? This could run. These types of stocks have wild runs. This stock has run in the past. So, you know, maybe it'll run up to 60 or 90. I don't know, but this stock, in my personal opinion, is not, it's a $4.3 billion stock right now. That's crazy time, in my opinion. So this is one of those stocks. Let me see if these numbers are reasonably accurate. Right. So, you know, you're talking about 15 to 20% growth. By the way, I think they had 5% growth this year. They're projecting that that's going to improve. So this is not even a high growth. This is modestly high growth, but I would count this as high growth if they hit these goals over the next 2 years. But still, even if they do that, you're talking about $300 million in sales. You're talking about a stock that's trading at $33. You're talking about a $4 billion stock. So that's what I'm saying. Compare this to, I would take, there's probably 10 Bitcoin mining companies that, in my opinion, are going to be much, much more profitable than this company. And they have somewhere between 1/10 and 1/50th the market cap that this company has. So that's, you know, and the market does that. So, you know, but I do think the Bitcoin miners will have their time. It's not yet. It's not now at all. And then the one we did the previous week, I hold out a little more hope for. This got beat up today, and I almost looked at it like, maybe this is a buying opportunity. This is a $775 million market cap, not $4 billion. And they have, and again, this is just one thing to look at. There's a million things to look at, but this is my super quick cheat sheet. You'll see they went from $8 million. They're projecting to go to $60 million and then $300 million. That's 600% growth, 400%. This is a high growth company. So, you know, and they're looking to make money next year. So at 38 cents, they already, if, you know, from a forward PE standpoint, that's already not bad. So, you know, if I had to pick one of these two, it would certainly be this one right here for sure. that's just my personal opinion. Oh, and Michael Anthony's asking me, what about applied? I happen to be answering that at the same time. I did not see you ask that. Oh, you probably asked that a while ago. I'm way behind in the chat. Try another poll.
Greenland.
Let's see. Darren says, he says, Riot is lying. Grill Jason less. And he doesn't mean grill him less versus more. It's Jason Less is his name. Can you look at stocks other than crypto related this weekend? So which ones do you want to look at? I don't know if this is in context in some way, but Paul said robots will take all jobs. Duckman says hello from Greenland. Hello, welcome to everybody from wherever you are in the world. Welcome. Yeah, so what was the volume? There, somebody's asking, did you see, Michael Anthony's asking, did you see the volume? So let's just take a look. Yeah, so ordinarily just under 4 million shares. Today, 47 million shares. So that's massive, massive volume. And is this the one that took a very strange journey today? Or was it, yeah. This is how volatile this stock is. Look at the Motley Fool 6 hours ago put out an article why Applied Digital stock is soaring today. Because at that time, early in the trading day, this stock was going ballistic. And it ends the day down 16%. So I got that here somewhere. So if I look at this just from top to bottom today, this is the one day. The stock was down 33% from the top of the day to the bottom of the day today. So you can see the stock was up 16% when the Motley Fool's putting out an article explaining why it's going ballistic, and it drops 33% from there. So that's what can happen with these volatile stocks. But I didn't buy anything today. I didn't sell anything today. FYI.
I was thinking about it, but I didn't do it.
You're thinking about buying in?
No, selling.
Oh, you were thinking about selling.
Yeah, not buying.
Crisis King said, price the Stronghold video Monday after I can buy. You got a deal. Craig Anderson, hi Tom and George, so happy this week thanks to Bitfarms. All right, shout out to Bitfarms. Bitfarms had a good day today. Finally, I've been waiting and calling $1.50 for Bitfarms for 2 months, and it closed at $1.52 today.
Oh, you're in the money, huh?
So
How much is it worth now?
In the money.
How much did it go up?
I'm in total on this round. I'm up about 150%, but
Nice.
that still doesn't get me all the way back to zero for what I lost on the last ones. Right. I need to go just a little bit more to get back to zero, and I'd like to hold them and end up making a profit. The whole point of all of this was to make a couple of bucks. I mean, this is not where I do the majority of my trading, but I just felt like that run to $1.50. I thought it was imminent, and it took a whole couple months more than I predicted. So I got burned once, but I did not sell any of these today. I'm expecting more upside, so we'll see what happens. I guess it depends, obviously, on what happens with Bitcoin and what happens with the market, because you can see, I will tell you guys, if you look at the market today, the S&P was down 0.77, Dow was down 0.65, NASDAQ was down over 1%, Russell down 1.44. This was an awful day in the market. So while we're all having a happy day, and congratulations everybody if you had a good day today, The rest of the market was awful. And that did hold back these Bitcoin miners. We would have had even a much better day, even if the market was just neutral today. But this was a very negative day. So that dragged on these, which is why I think if Bitcoin, it's going to bounce around over the weekend. But if it can break out of this 31,000 and start to run up, I think we're going to have even bigger moves in the Bitcoin miners next week. Or, whether it's next week or the week after that, time frame is always hard to tell. But I think there's one more big push up, and then we're going to have to figure out what comes next.
Well, you want to close out with looking at the where Bitcoin is right now?
Let's take a look. Yes. But not on the one day. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Looks like we've pulled back a little bit since the market closed. So we've given about half back of what we got today. We're up from yesterday at the end of the equity markets. We're now only up just about 1%. But we were up almost 4% earlier in the day today. So, now it's the weekend. So obviously, if you trade Bitcoin, Bitcoin trades all weekend long. If you're trading the Bitcoin miners, you're going to have to wait until Monday. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if Bitcoin can hold 30,000 and maybe make a run. That's what I feel like is coming next. So I may be wrong, but I may be right. Any other thoughts, George?
No, I got nothing, brother.
All right. Well, thanks to all of our viewers, all of our subscribers. Thank you to all of the members. Welcome to all the new members. And don't forget, if you do enjoy this content, you can join and become a member by hitting the join button on the YouTube page right next to the subscribe button. So, having said that, thank you for the 100 likes as well. Thanks to George for all he does for the channel as well. And everybody have a fantastic weekend.
Have a great one, guys.